Welcome to Mike Brown Barbecue. Today we're going to be smoking prime grade briskets and drinking cold beer using this 250-gallon offset smoker. I'll take you along the ride, my fire management, the whole way through. Everything I do, we're going to do in this video. Stay tuned. Alright folks, we're going to get this brisket trimmed up. What I got here is a big old prime brisket from HEB, 17 pounds pre-trim. I like to buy these oversized briskets and trim them down to size. I'll trim this down to about a 12-pound, 11-pound brisket before it's said and done to get the shape and get everything even. It's the IBF brand. I have one. So what I like to do is start by looking at the back of the brisket. You feel the need to do that every time I make a video, don't you? Damn cock. I tell you right now, so we're pretty flat back here. That's good. But I got some big old hunks of fat coming down right through here. This flap's a little thin. This fat's a little thin. And I'll come right here. Just see how much fat I got in that pocket. I can see right there I'm getting a little thin already, so I won't go over that one again. Make sure you got a super sharp knife when you're doing this stuff, folks. Because if you got a dull knife and your meat's not real cold, it's kind of hard to trim. It'll make us a lot of tallow out of this fat. So I can see right there that I ain't far off of hitting meat. You know, you just got to keep working on it. It's getting annoying. You just got to work with it. Another good way to tell how thick your fat cap is, because it's kind of hard to see through all that, is go ahead and trim that little bit of side off. I like to flip it over first. Just take a little bit of that side off. All the way down. I'll use that right there for some sausage. Then we'll flip it up on the side and we'll look at it. You can see got a lot of fat right here. Got a pretty good bit of fat right there on that flat. We got to get trimmed down on our point over here. We're not too bad off. And on your point, you want to try to leave some of this fat right here to protect it. You turn it up, you can see what that is right there. I like to turn it up on the side. Kind of get some of that crumbly meat off of there. They got burnt. Got hot water on it during the packaging because that stuff just crumbles on the edge of your brisket when you get to cooking it down. And on my point right here, I like to trim it down to like an 1/8 inch so you get that sugar cookie bark. You get that sugar cookie bark, and you can kind of look right here. I separated that muscle right there, and you can see how thick your fat is right there also. So I should have really had this brisket in a freezer because that fat's getting hard to trim. But I really don't have no room in my freezer right now from leftover smokes and all that cool stuff. Round it off on the point when you're coming around trimming that fat off the sides, front of it. Just keep on trimming and trimming till you're satisfied with it. There ain't no rule that says you don't want to trim off too much. You want to at least leave a 1/4 inch fat cap on there. Kind of hold your hand up underneath it, just like that. Help you out with the trimming. You can roll it up, kind of look on the side and see what you got. We got about a little over a 1/4 inch. We'll trim it down just a little bit more. Like I said before, this would be a lot easier. This damn thing was, you put it in the freezer for a little bit and let it get cold. I'm not gonna worry too much about trimming this far corner right here because I'll be taking that off and rounding out this brisket. You can see right there, kind of got into it. So it tells me this part of the fat cap over here is real thin. Don't need much more trimming. When you're trimming this pillowy fat, that's what you want. That's the kind of fat that's going to render down real good. It's probably just about all that I'm going to do. I'm going to take off little pieces that are hanging off. What I like to do next is there's a big pocket of fat right there. I like to take it out a little bit. Big old pocket of fat. I like to take it out a little bit, kind of help rendering. I'm going to take some of this off on this side too. about all I'm going to take off of that. Right there. That's what I like. Alright, so we'll flip it over and do this side now. Give it a scrape. Alright, so now we're going to flip it over. I like to start out next. This big piece of deckle fat. It's got a pretty good one on this. This one's pretty dead-gum big. Pretty big chunk of deckle fat. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll cut that up in a minute. That's gonna make some good beef tallow. Big old chunk of fat right there. Way bigger than what I like on a damn brisket, but didn't have a whole lot to choose from at HEB. So we'll come up here and just kind of shape things up a little bit. Right there goes sausage. There we go to sausage. I aggressively trim my briskets. So if you're watching and you're thinking, oh my God, nothing goes to waste. Take that big hunk of fat off right there. I like to kind of come in here a little bit and get down in there on that. And we'll take some of this fat off the top. Next thing I'm going to do is work on giving this a shape. I am going to come back to this side right here. See how thin that is? I'm going to take a little bit of that off. Straight down the side of it. That makes some killer sausage. And just to see what it looks like right there, you can see that good marbling right there in the flat. That's going to be good. It's going to render down nicely. You want to give it a shape. So this flat starts thinning right there. You see how thick your flat is right here compared to right there. See how uneven that flat is. A lot of people that cook briskets make mistakes trying to save this little thin flat meat over here. And what that's going to do, this is going to overcook right there. And you're going to have an uneven cooked brisket. And that's just going to crumble and fall apart and burn, especially on a bigger pit. So I'm going to take that off. So it starts thinning out right there. Kind of take your knife and draw your little shape in there. That's where I'm going to do mine at. Come back and follow it. That big old hunk of meat right there will go to some sausage. And as you can see, as I was telling you before, that flat's got some decent marbling in it. Now you see how even that is. Now the next step is to kind of round everything off. So I'll come back to this corner right here. I'll round that off a little bit. Round this off. Just give it a decent shape. That is how I trim my briskets. Store-bought briskets. Do the best you can with them. That good. You see the nice round shape. There's no edges that can really burn. It's somewhat aerodynamic. So what we're going to do now is get this sucker seasoned up. We're going to start with some black pepper. A heavy coat. Build that bark. Pat it in. Get the sides. Don't forget the sides. We're going to hit it with a little bit of kosher salt. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Just the Bondlers has got a bunch of. So we'll hit it with this Bondlers next. Pretty generous coat of that also. What I like to do is go down one end and back the other one time. That's normally enough Bondlers on my brisket. You don't want too much fine rub on your brisket, because other people make the mistake of using a whole lot of commercial rubs that got a bunch of fine particles in it, and it's not cool doing that. You're getting in the way of putting your smoke on your meat. Alright, we'll come to this side. We're going to hit it with a heavy coat of black pepper. Help build that bark. We're going to fat cap up. Just like that. Pat that in. Put a little bit more right there. Just like that. Pat that in. And we'll hit it with a little bit of kosher salt. Just a little bit. And then we'll hit it with our Bondlers Fiesta Seasonal. Do the sides first. Give it a good pat. And just like that, we got us a brisket seasoned up. I'll bring you guys back here in a minute. Stay tuned. Alright folks, the time has come. Put our briskets on. Our coal bed has been burnt down. It's time to put these dudes up on there. That's what she's looking like right there. Seasoning's soaked in. So we're going to put this brisket right here. A little bit off in the middle. Scrunch it up and put the point toward the fire. So what we'll do next is what I like to do is I like to put my briskets on when my coal bed's burnt down. Then we'll go over here and I'll bring you behind my wood science as to why I burn the way I burn my fire to start this brisket. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so we got our coal bed burnt down. It's time to smash this down just a little bit, not a whole lot. As you can see, we got some good red hot coals. I'm going to scoot these coals up a little bit without disturbing them too much. Gotta spread them out, smash them down. And boy, that's a screaming hot, good coal bed. And there's a reason why I want this coal bed screaming hot. I'm fixing to show you. So I got this big, dense red oak log right here. And what I want to do because I want some moisture in this. So as you can see, 27, 28% moisture on that. In order for me to burn wood that's got this much moisture in it, I got to have a screaming hot coal bed. So we'll put this dude on, thick side to the inside of the fire, right here. Put it right on there. And it'll take right off. And also you can see on this piece of red oak, 27% moisture. He's gonna go right here. And then my 2 logs that go on top. 27% moisture. Last but not least, 27% moisture. What that's gonna do is give me optimal smoke flavor on the first part of my cook. The first 3 hours of your cook is where you get the smoke flavor on your meat. This is a brisket cook. I'm not too much concerned about how much burn time I get out of this setup. What I am concerned with is how much smoke I put on that meat. I want to throw this dense smoke on this meat and get it to soak it in. And that's where you get most of your flavor from in the first part of your cook. It's through your dense logs, a lot of moisture in them. They burn slowly, they burn low, but they put out a good smoke that's not dirty. Everybody's got a misconception about dirty smoke versus clean smoke. Just because it's a little white coming out of that smokestack does not mean that it's dirty smoke. People who barbecued a long time know the difference between dirty smoke and clean smoke. And I'll take a peek up there. That right there is not dirty smoke. That is good smoke to start your fire off with to get plenty of flavor on your brisket. I'm gonna go ahead and close this door down. My fire's taking off just like I want it. I'm gonna close it down to about a ½ inch, slow it down a little bit, and I'll bring you guys back when I manage this fire. Like I said, I may not even open this pit for 4 hours. It just depends on how this fire burns. So stay tuned. All right, folks, when we get too carried away with our briskets, what I want to show you next is what I'm gonna do with all that fat I trimmed off them briskets. We're gonna make us some smoked tallow with it. I'm gonna put it right down right here. And let it smoke on. Smoked tallow. It's very good. You can use it back in your brisket wrap. I may not do it in this video. I don't know. You can fry French fries. You can do all kind of things with it. It's good to have. I cut out what I wanted for my sausage, for the meat, and then we'll make that tallow on the smoker. So the next time we see the tallow and the briskets will be roughly 3 to 4 hours. Stay tuned. Alright, so our temp started to drop off 275, which tells me it's time to manage this fire. Alright, let's see what we got. As you can see, everything is just about gone. We'll smash those coals down in there. Move this coal bed up just a hair. These pieces that are kind of not burnt down all the way, we'll bury them down in there. So now we're going to go on with our next pieces of wood. Just like before, they're dense pieces. That one's 30% moisture right there. Going in with the even more dense pieces because of how hot my fire is. Put that one right there. That one's about 25%. It's gonna go right there. And I'm still using my barky logs for this also. You see that one's 29%. It's gonna go right there. Last but not least, a nice flat one. and it's running about 28%. That's gonna go right there. So that right there will carry us for a while. This last setup carried us for about an hour and a half. So that was good. Got some good burn time out of that. I like that spacing right there. I've still got a good hot coal bed. This is gonna burn down very nicely and still throw our dense smoke up on there. Take a look at our smokestack up there. Got some good smoke coming out. I put this brisket on at 9 o'clock and it's 10:30 right now, so I got exactly an hour and 30 minutes burn time out of that setup. That's the good thing about summertime and having a real thick firebox. That firebox is 3/8 of an inch thick, so that's just like having an insulated firebox in the summertime. You don't burn as much wood, you get more burn time out, and when you use the wood with more moisture in it, you get more burn time also. It don't burn as quick. It burns low and slow, and that's what you want. So I'll keep you guys posted as I manage this fire. Like I said, we're an hour and a half in. Stay tuned. So we just put that new wood on, and I wanted to show y'all. This is as far as I dropped off my target temp, and it's rising back up. On a 250 gallon, you can almost run a perfect fire on that. It's not as easy as a 500 and 1000 where you don't hardly get no drop off, but you get a little drop off with a 250. You wait just a little bit too long to manage your fire, which I like to get the most burn time out of my wood that I can before I manage it. If I drop 10, 15 degrees off my target temp, it's really not a major setback in my opinion. A lot of people think it is, but it's not. It's not a major setback. I'll be up to my temp here in just a second. In less than 2 minutes, I'll be back up. A lot of times where you run into trouble on brisket hooks and thicker pieces of meat is when your temp drops too low for 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time. You know, say you smoke at 275 and you drop at 225 for an hour. That's a major setback for 30 minutes to an hour as you slow down your forward momentum and what you're cooking. So you don't ever want to be no more than 10, 15 degrees off your target temp for longer than 15, 20 minutes at a time, or you get trouble and your cooks take way longer. You keep something that's consistent, staying at my target temp was 275 to about 300 is where I want to be at. I'm already up to 275 right now, and you see me hitting this needle, it's not jumping no more. That means this fire is settled in, and it's going to stay right there until I get ready to manage this fire again and it drops a little bit. I'll bring you guys in for that. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're about 45 minutes removed from the last time that we worked the fire, and I've noticed my temperature dropped just a little bit. Something tells me we're probably ready to go ahead and tighten this fire up. So let's look and see what we got in here. And you can see the wood's not all that burned up. Got a real slow fire going on. So what that tells me is I need to tighten up the channel logs. So we'll start right here on this side. Put that shovel right there in on the side. And just kind of shove it over. Just like that. And we'll move this little guy right here. We'll move him back. And just like that, we got the fire tightened up. You can see it starting to get wild now, so we'll close it on down. Put some of the oxygen supply off to it. So we're roughly about 2 hours and 10 minutes-ish into this cook. You can see the smoke coming out up there. Nice clean smoke. That's the blue smoke that everybody always prefers, but my fires start out with the heavy smoke and eventually turn into that blue smoke. But we're in the first 3 hour mark, so we want to sling that smoke to this meat as much as we can. Look, man, there's my cock. I want to keep growing in all my videos. That's pretty much where we're at. Keep you guys posted. 2 hours, 10 minutes in. We tighten up our fire to get our heat up a little bit so we don't drop off our target temp. I really don't think I'm going to open this up to about the 4 hour mark, so we'll manage this fire one more time before we open it up and see what we got. I've been running a real low and slow fire. I don't see the need to open that lid. You can cook your brisket a lot faster if you're not opening that lid too much. You can tell by the way that you run your fire whether or not you need to spritz or do anything like that. I've kept this fire down. It's been steady, so I know that I'm not burning nothing up in there. Very confident in that. So I'll bring you guys back here in a little while when we manage the fire. Stay tuned. All right, folks. So our temp has started to drop. It's time to manage this fire for the third time. You can see everything's about burnt down and gone. Smash all that down in there, and little pieces that ain't quite burnt yet. Clean the front of your coal bed out. Let's put our new wood on there. Nothing special about what I'm going on with next. It's just good seasoned wood. Right around moisture content of about 20%. I've done got all the smoke flavor that I'm gonna get on that meat, because we're at the 3 hour mark right now. We got an hour and a half of burn time out of this setup. So we're gonna put that on just like that. Close the store down. That's gonna take off real quick because we got a screaming hot coal bed. So we're at the 3 hour mark on our brisket cook. Probably at the 4 hour mark, I'm gonna put that lid open. I burn it real low and slow fire between 300 and 275 degrees. So I'm gonna keep rolling with it. You cook your brisket faster if you ain't looking. Pro tip of the day: don't open your smoker every hour, 2 hours. Check on your brisket. Pay attention to your fire. Your fire is gonna tell you everything you need to know and how you're running it. What your brisket's doing in there. If it's wild, jumping all over the place, up and down, chances are your brisket's getting crispy. It's gonna take a long time. But if you learn how to run this fire consistently, low and slow, you can go longer without having to open up that lid and look at your brisket. I'll bring y'all back when we look at that brisket here in about an hour. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're officially at our 4 hour mark. It's time to open this up, see what we got. What we got is some good bark formation on both briskets. Nothing's burning, nothing's crispy. Fat hasn't started to render yet on either one of these. Definitely got some pulling. This fire's hot. So we got good bark formation. Fat's not quite rendered out yet. Still got a little ways to go on that. Briskets are looking like at the 4 hour mark. Got good bark on them. They're looking real nice. Nothing's burning. You can see that point right there. It's not crispy. It's not hard. Been running a real consistent fire. Our 4 hour mark. We'll manage that fire here probably another 30 minutes. Go ahead and shut this lid down and see all I needed to see. That's where we're at. Now we'll come over here and take a look how our tallow is coming out. It's rendering out nicely. I need to stir it. Before I stir it, I'll bring it in there and let you look. That's what our tallow is looking like. That's where we're at on our tallow. We should be, it ought to be rendered down here within the next 2 hours. Y'all stay tuned. So we're at the 5 hour mark. I'm gonna check these briskets again. That's what I like to do around this time, is rotate them. Stop the pulling off. You can see that looks real nice. What I like to do is rotate them this way with that thick part toward the fire. There's a big band of fat right in here that I'm gonna try to render out. I'm gonna do the same with that brisket right there. It's smaller. Put it in like that. I don't have nothing getting crispy on me, so that's good. I do have a little bit of pulling on each brisket. Dump those off. I'm gonna let this side catch the heat for a little bit. As you can see, they're looking nice, got nice bark. Fat has not quite started to render just yet, but it's not far off from starting. It has softened up here a little bit. So I don't see no need to spritz or full tip nothing just yet, but I am gonna keep an eye on everything. Make sure it doesn't. We're at our 5-hour mark, and I've gotten plenty of good burn time out of them logs. I just looked at them. They still look good, so it'll probably be another 30 minutes before I manage the fire. So you guys stay tuned. Alright folks, time to manage the fire again. You can see everything's about burnt down, so we'll smash this coals in there. This dude's still got a little bit of life left to him. We'll put him right here in the middle. Push him down in the coals. We'll clean the coal bed out. And my coal bed's getting a little bit too far back, so we're gonna move it up to the front. Get the fire away from the meat. These two pieces still got a little bit of left in them. Directly in the middle. Alright, so we still got a screaming hot coal bed. Throw our next pieces on. Nothing special about them. Just good seasoned red oak. Put our two pieces on top. Just like that. Our fire is managed. 2 hours and 15 minutes of burn time out of my last setup. It's pretty damn good. So that's taken off. We'll close it down. And we'll take a look at our brisket here in a minute. Alright, stay tuned. We're at the 6-hour mark. It's time to take a look at these briskets. As you can see, they are looking nice. So I'm going to check for fat render. Still real rubbery up here. The fat is softening up down here on this flat. I am starting to get a little dark on some of these edges and on my point. So I'm going to be full tipping my brisket. Come around the end of it like that. Protect your meat on your point. Protect that just like that. Sometimes you got to watch this right here because it'll burn too, but it's not burning on this brisket. And it's good on that one back there. So now that I got these full tipped, I'm probably not going to open this thing up for another 2 hours. We're at the 6-hour mark. I anticipate on wrapping around the 8-hour, 9-hour mark. Let's check on our tallow. That's our tallow. Alright folks, so I'll bring you back when we manage a fire and wrap them briskets, whichever comes first. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so it's time to manage the fire again. We're at the 7-hour mark of this cook. As you can see, everything's about burnt down. This dude needs to be buried down in there. We got us a nice coal bed. It's great when you got this right here. Throw that back up there on the side. And we'll go ahead and throw some more wood up on there. Nothing special about what we're using now. We're just throwing it down on there. What I like to do at this point in the cook is bury these down in there because your coal starts getting piled up and your fire gets too high. One right there. One right there. That's what we got, folks. Stay tuned. Alright folks, it's time to check on our briskets. We're about the 7.5-hour mark in. Fat starting to soften up on my brisket. Give you a close-up look at it. See what that's looking like. Starting to get a little bend to it, but it's not quite there. I'm gonna flip it on around to this side and let some of that fat render out right here on this side. Bring you guys back when I wrap my brisket. Stay tuned. Alright folks, I just wanted to show you the end result of our tallow. That's what it looks like when you're done with it. I got 3 full mason jars of tallow out of them 2 briskets. You got your pit fired up, you got a big pit like me and you ain't got much on it, throw your tallow on there. Make your tallow out of that, or you can do it in the oven, or you can do it on your pellet smoker, whatever smoker you got, whatever you got at home, you can do it. The benefit to doing this in your smoker is you get a little bit of added depth of a smoke flavor in it. This tallow smoked for 7 hours. So, and render down, and it's got some good flavor. You can use it for french fries, chicken wings, throw it in your brisket wrap, which is probably what we're going to do with some of it. And I encourage you to save your fat, make tallow, and then take your meat and make sausage out of it, or any other dish. So I just wanted to bring y'all in for that. Stay tuned. Alright, it's time to check our brisket. We're officially at the 8-hour mark, and this thing here is ready to wrap. It's soft. All the fat is rendered up on top. What I want to do though is check it, feel, and I feel up underneath there, and I can feel underneath this brisket. Flat right here, it's soft. It's getting soft, it's giving, it's starting to get some bend to it. So what we're gonna do next is wrap this thing up. Alright, so we got our brisket pulled. I'll put some tallow down. We'll set that brisket right there. We'll wrap this thing up. What I'm gonna do first is bring this over like that. Kind of tuck it in right there. Tuck it in right there. And tuck it in up underneath the underneath your brisket, and then fold it in. Cut your corners up. Fold this side. Fold that side. Then you'll tuck. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Roll it one time. Tighten everything up. You'll have your little excess right here. Fold it in like that. And then roll it one more time. Just like that. Kind of scrunch it together, tighten it up. I'll put this thing back on the smoker. Next time you see it is when I pull it and it's done. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're roughly on our 9th hour. This will be the last time that we manage this fire. You can see I've got some little bit of logs. We're just gonna go ahead and do what we've been doing with the rest of them. Little pieces that ain't quite burned up, bury them down in the coal bed. Just like that. Clean the front out, throw it up on the side. And I'm gonna go on with some thicker logs, get some more burn time this time. Drier, thicker logs. I can get a lot of burn time out of. Finish out this cook. That's what we got. This will be the last time we manage the fire. I'll bring y'all back when we check the brisket for the final. Stay tuned. Alright guys, I got a feeling this brisket's done. Since I've been wrapping, I bumped my temp up to 325. We're at the 10-hour mark of this smoke. And we're gonna feel this brisket, see what she feels like. And we're gonna call that done. It is given. Hold this back and you can press down right here and it is given in right there. That's what you want. That's how you cook a brisket by feel. When you can press that in like that, it's done. You can also feel the pliableness, how pliable it is. But we'll do an internal temp just for the viewers. Thickest part of the flat is right there. And that's reading about 188. So it's reading less than what I thought it would be reading, but it feels tender. It's probing like butter. That's done. 188, the thickest part of the flat. Now what I'm going to do next is take this off, put it in a full pan, or let it come down to an internal temp of about 150, 140, and then it'll go into the oven and rest for the next 10 hours until we slice it tomorrow. A lot of people like to go by guidelines 200, 205. A brisket's done when a brisket's done. I could tell by feel, but if I was to go by internal temp, then I would have took this brisket to 200, 205, and then when I went to cut it tomorrow, it would be mush. We'd be making chopped beef sandwiches out of it. So that's why I don't go like that. Every brisket's different. I will say one thing, this is the fastest brisket that I've ever cooked before. I've never had a 12-pound brisket finish in 10 hours like that. It's normally a little bit longer, even running at 300 degrees, so everything's different with different pieces of meat. This brisket smoked a whole lot quicker than I thought it was. So at the 10-hour mark, we're going to pull it and let it rest in the oven overnight. I'll bring you guys back tomorrow when we slice it. Stay tuned.
Folks, so this is the brisket that I did for my neighbor. We're going to get it sliced up. In my opinion, his turned out way better than mine did for the simple fact that I got all the nickel fat rendered out of this one. And there wasn't much difference in the two briskets as far as weight goes. Mine weighed 12 pounds, his weighed 11 pounds. So his cooked a little bit earlier than mine. It finished about 30 minutes. Really about an hour earlier than what my brisket did. But you can see right there, nice moisture retention, smoke ring, good bend on it. Good looking brisket. That's where our burn ends come from right here. As you can see, the deckle fat's rendered out of that. Nice and juicy. Get some burn ends sliced up here. I wasn't planning on doing a video on this one, but I was gonna make a short out of it, so it's on my cell phone. But after slicing my brisket up, I wanted to show y'all how this one turned out. I was really disappointed in the deckle fat in the last one. Alright, we'll continue to slice this point up. You can see that looks real good. This brisket right here only rested for about 3.5 hours, 4 hours. I didn't rest it in the oven overnight. There's some money shot there. You can see that everything looks good. And I normally, when I smoke a brisket, I call my neighbor up and let him know that I'm doing it. And I'll just, if he can't come pick it up, I just vacuum seal it, slice it, vacuum seal it, and heat it in a pot of boiling water. It's the best way to do a brisket if you're going to reheat it. There's another one of them good looking point slices right there. The bend is good. And I just wanted y'all to see this brisket because I was disappointed in the deckle fat this next one.
Alright guys, it's the next day and this thing rested in my oven overnight for about 13 hours. So it's time to unwrap it and see what we got. That's our first look at it right there. You can see it's nice and pliable. It's tender. Everything's broke down. It's time for the plop test. You can see the jiggle. That's what you want. Pour some of the tallow back over it. It's in the bag. Give it that glistening effect. You can see that's what we got right there. Nice and jiggly. Alright folks, you see what we got there? Let's see how this first slice came out. You can see right there, Nice and juicy. If your flat's nice and juicy like that, you know it was a successful cook. Let's take a few more slices now at the flat. See how this came out. Got a decent smoke ring on there, lots of moisture retention. Let's do the bend test of the finger. That's perfect. See how it pulls apart with ease. One thing I really didn't like off of this brisket off Jump Street was how much deckle fat it had. You can see right there. Kind of ruined where we would get our burn ends from. But it'd be like that sometimes. One thing I've noticed since the pandemic is brisket selection at the stores has gone. Quality's gone down, so you really got to dig to find something decent. As you can see, it had a big thick band of deckle fat to it, but still good. It's nice and tender. Comes right apart. Fatty brisket's got a lot of fat in it. You can see it's nice and pliable, nice and juicy. The only thing if I had a complaint about this cook, it's the deckle fat not rendering all the way out. But said, ain't much I can do about that. So now let's take us a taste test. I like to start with tasting this end piece on the flat first. That's going to tell you how good you really did on this. It's pretty good. Not bad. Try this piece from the point right quick. And I'll hurry up because I got a hungry guest here. That's the point. All in all, this brisket's pretty good success. Pretty good, not bad at all. You see, fat's rendered out nicely. It's yellow. Good smoke ring, nice moisture retention. Couldn't ask for a better brisket. Rested it in my oven for 13 hours. We smoked it about 275 to 300 the whole way using red oak. So if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.